Okay, hi everyone. So this is your Power Hour lesson. And again, apologies, I'm not in front of you for this. I'd much rather if we were all together in the room, but hopefully this will be the only occasion when I'm not in school for it. So I've planned it to have the same structure that we've been using in lesson. So I've picked psychopathology as a revision topic area, and I've picked in particular the definitions of abnormality because I think, one, it's a tricky area when you get long questions on it, and two, that's going to help support our work on schizophrenia. So again, we're sort of killing two birds with one stone here. So we're going to focus on those definitions of abnormality. So like we would in the lesson, the structure we're going to use for this hour is you're going to retrieve your knowledge, see where you're at, what do you know without having to look things up. Then we're going to pull apart, or rather you are, and I've attached this on class charts, pull apart an example essay, a waggle, on a particular question, and then from that you're going to kind of create your list, and then you're going to have a go at the exact same question but imagining it's an 8 mark, and try not to rely too much on your list and the notes you've just created. So we're really getting ourselves completely absorbed in that one small topic and thinking about our essay technique as well. So here we go. So we're retrieving our knowledge to start with. So just literally blank piece of paper. What can you remember about the definitions of abnormality? So remember there's 4 of them, and in case this is just too long ago since you've done it, I've even reminded you of some of those acronyms, some of those the 4 definitions. So give yourself 5 minutes and do as much as you can. Don't just say what the letters stand for. Give examples of how that would define abnormality. Think of strengths, weaknesses. Use that terminology, ethnocentric, doesn't allow for eccentricity. Go for it and just absolutely retrieve as much as you possibly can on definitions of abnormality. Okay, so hopefully you've retrieved your knowledge. And now you're thinking, okay, right, these were where my gaps were. I couldn't really remember any evaluation points for the deviation from ideal mental health, for example. So one of the purposes of doing those retrievals is, yes, it helps to form those connections and strengthen the memory, but also it shows you, oh, I'm not quite there on that yet. So make sure you do something about it. Don't just leave it at that. Get that topic companion back out, get that revision pack, look at your notes. What couldn't you remember? Oh, you couldn't remember, you didn't have 3 weaknesses for the deviation from ideal mental health. Right, set yourself a job then. I'm going to go and find that bit in my topic companion, and I'm going to learn 3 weaknesses so that the next time I need this, I've got it secure. Yeah, so really just focus on each time drilling and consolidating, getting in there those gaps. But what we're going to do, what you're going to do now, is pull apart that essay. Now I picked this one because it links so nicely to our schizophrenia topic, because we've got Rob here, and Rob's hearing voices. So it's a classic case of schizophrenia. But it's an application question, and we know when we have 16 mark application questions, we still have our 6 for knowledge, AO1, but this time we have 4 for AO2 application, referring it to Rob, and then we just have 6 for evaluation. So we shift the balance slightly. Some of our evaluation marks move across to our application. But because application questions are so specific, there's no point us having an AO2 list, because we're never going to be able to apply our knowledge in exactly the same way again on a future question, because it's never going to be exactly the same question. So what you're going to spot as you're pulling apart the waggle and you're identifying, you're going to spot some application, you're going to spot lots of reference to Rob, because that makes for a good answer. But I'm not bothered about you putting that in a list. But just like we've done many times before, where we've read it through together and we've picked out, oh, so what they did there is, you're going to create your bullet point list of knowledge and evaluation. Now we've got 2 definitions to talk about here. We've got to talk about failure to function adequately, and we've got to talk about deviation from ideal mental health. So actually, I would suggest you end up with 4 lists. A knowledge, an AO1 on failure to function adequately, an evaluation list on failure to function adequately, a knowledge list, AO1, on deviation from ideal mental health, an evaluation list, okay? Because essentially that's what we need for all of them, isn't it? We need knowledge and evaluation points for all 4 of the definitions. We'll just focus on these 2. But look out in the waggle, as always, when we're pulling it apart, look for the level of development, look for how they link back to the question, look for the examples that they use, and add any of those little reminders to yourself to your lists so that you can really think about, oh yeah, I could use that example. We've done that. I could refer to that as a good way of showing a problem of cultural bias when thinking and when diagnosing. Yeah, so this is the point in the course where we can use our psychopathology knowledge, we can use our knowledge from approaches, we can use our knowledge from schizophrenia, and it starts coming together. Okay, so pause me, shut me up. Hopefully you've been able to open it up on your computer screen, or even better, print it out and pull that essay apart and create your lists. Okay, so you should now have your lists. And just like if we were in the room, I'd have allowed 10 minutes for this final bit, and I'd say, okay, we've got our head around that, we've revised that, we've got all that fresh in our mind. So now 10 minutes, silent work in your book, have a go at this exact same question, but it's not a 16, it's worth 8. So we're doing half the amount, okay? So we're going to have one chunky paragraph which shows our knowledge of failure to function adequately and evaluates it. And then we're going to have a second chunky paragraph which does exactly the same for deviation from ideal mental health, and we'll throw in some of our Rob references and examples. So we're practicing all 3 skills and we're revising the content we've just done. Okay, so that's what I'd like you to do. That would take you to the end of the lesson, and I can have a look at those attempts when I see you next. And of course, if you've got any questions, anything you need help with, again, just drop me an email or come see me tomorrow. I'm back in school on Thursday. Okay, thank you very much.